flock of people talking about what, with or Mendocino County, where are we going? Because I've been really fascinated and aware that if we were a county that knew its stories, if we were a county that knew our history and knew each other, and knew what mattered to each other, that kind of social capital is invaluable. That kind of connection between people makes it possible to do any of this that we're talking about. And that's really what's important, is to have that trust and that care for each other. So I came to this group through that lens. But because of my marriage to Mac Magruder, who's been a cattle rancher for the last 30 years, and my watching him over the last 25 years, try to use a large, wonderful piece of land in Potter Valley economically. And his grandfather had raised sheep there, and that didn't work. And then his father put in pears, and Mac grew up tending smudge pots and trying to watch his father make pears be economic in our little south end of the valley, and that didn't work. And Mac came back to take over the ranch and in '76 and took out all the pears and concentrated on a cow-calf operation. And I watched him struggle for years with that, as he would send the cattle off and then was at the mercy of whatever the national market was. And it was often not good, and he didn't have any control over it, and it broke his heart. And in the last 15 years or so, he had a paradigm shift and realized that he could get control of that business, of those animals, if he finished them on the grass that he was growing there on the ranch, and didn't ship them off to feedlots, which has become, since World War II, what has happened to the animals in our country, feedlots, and backing them up on grain. And he did a holistic ranching management course and learned about raising animals naturally on the grass that the sun is growing naturally on these hills, and it changed his life. It changed the economics of our family as well, because he became a leader. He became a pioneer in what has now become a very, very going industry. Grass-fed beef. He's now raising pastured pork as well, and he's pretty much doing it on his own. And we can't keep up with the demand. We have hundreds of local people who buy quarters or halves or whole beef. He's selling to some local restaurants, but it's hard for local restaurants to manage a whole beef, because he can't sell off in, just steaks and roast. He has to deal with the whole animal. But he is selling to high-end restaurants in the Bay Area, Chez Panisse and Olivetos and Cafe Rouge, and he can't keep up with them either. And one of the biggest issues that we're facing, of course, is the infrastructure to process these animals, and that's going to be a bottleneck that will stop this really burgeoning industry that could. I mean, Mac is just one person. I look at these hills, and I hear Mark talk about the timber and what's possible on these hills. We could be, like you say, becoming a green county is on its way, and the need for green, the awareness of that. It's the same thing happening in our food system. Same thing happening with consumers and what they want from their food. They want safe food. They want to be able to go to a farm and see where it's raised. They want to know that it's healthy for them. They want to know that it's been raised ecologically, environmentally, healthily, and we have the capacity for that. But we can't unless we have the infrastructure to support it. So we could be known for that. We're not that far from the Bay Area. There is an insatiable demand for what we could produce here. I mean, I'm watching it in just one little frame as I'm helping with the books there at the ranch. That it's, people, there are new calls every single day, and people want to know, where can I get range-free poultry? Where can I get grass-fed dairy? Where can I get cheeses? It's where? There is a wonderful group of people based in Anderson Valley. I don't know if you guys have seen this, the local food guide they put together. outlining what's available already in this county, vegetables and fruits and olive oil and meats and cheeses. And this movement, which is really part of what I'm on the committee doing right now, this local food supply, the group of people that have been working on this for the last couple of years had a meeting, as Steve mentioned, up in Willits, February 24th, to put together food producers and food buyers, not only restaurant buyers, but institutions, hospitals, schools, jails, people, and there were over 100 people there, and it was an all-day meeting, and it was a working meeting, and the networking and the ideas that were coming up from these small groups of breakout groups were exciting, and you could just see it was moving right along. There's a concerted effort that's not stopping. There's a Master Gardener program in town. There are community gardens springing up all over the place. If we were spending our money locally on local food instead of sending it out of the county, just the income that would retain for us. Really what I think we're wanting to do here is share a vision of what is possible here that we're beginning to see. Mac and I went to the International Slow Food Conference in Italy a couple of years ago. And in northern Italy, there were 6,500 people there from all over the world. And right next to it was something called Salon del Gusto. And it was this food fair with hundreds, thousands of producers of cheeses and prosciutto and olive oil and breads from, it's like, here's the cheese from the goats on that side of the hill, and here's the cheese, from the sheep on, in that little valley. And everyone had a story. Every single producer had a story of why it tasted the way it did, because of the grass or because of the water or because of, and there were hundreds of thousands of people who came to that food fair for the special local quality of that. We have the possibility of doing that here still. And that's the vision, I think, that we want to plunk on the table here in front of you, that we don't have to bring in lots of other new industries. If we scooped up what we have here and valued it and created from it and created cottage industries from it and continued as we're doing it anyway, connecting each other and sharing the enormous innovation and imagination that exists here. It's our oyster. If we can say, yeah, let's do this together. Let's really do this together.
So, I hope you can take some of our passion. It's amazing since December 1 how many things are launching and how quickly. Because people are so passionate, I think people have been waiting for some group to emerge that just is the convener. And that is really our purpose, just to be that convener. So we want to thank you for the opportunity of coming and sharing some of the things that we're working on. If you have some questions that you'd like to ask us, we would love to answer those. If not, we certainly want to respect the time of other panels as well. So,
To the board, any comments? Cool.
We look at these sheets here and it says a lot of doom and gloom, but I just want to, there are a lot of areas I think we are, for instance, just what's going on in the north end of this county right now that's actually we're just I feel that on the verge of a economic boom. I mean, just in the, a lot of this starts with land use decisions, and that's, water and land use decisions are probably the biggest things that affect the economic development. I don't think there's anything comes close to that. But just to remind for members of the audience here, in